Hi, I'm Karen,
I'm Carl.
and we're celebrating our first anniversary as full-time RV travelers under the moniker Riveting Journey. And so we just wanted to do a quick video where you see our faces instead of all the photos that I usually take. So May 22nd, which was yesterday, you're probably seeing this a few days later, was our first anniversary. We left last year as the pandemic started, and we have been to 19 states. We've driven over 30,000 miles. We've been to 15 national parks, 3 national memorials, 4 national monuments, and 1 national recreation area. Carl wanted me to break it out like that.
Well, it's important because we've been to a lot of these places.
So why don't you talk a little bit about what was different because of COVID?
The biggest issue was for COVID, a lot of the visitor centers were closed, of course. Now you could go see the areas like the Flight 93 Memorial that we went to. You could go drive out to the crash site and see all that stuff, but you couldn't go into the buildings and see all the printed material and all the news footage and all the museums and all that stuff, which that's a kind of a bummer. But
we had also planned initially to go all the way up to Prince Edward Island in Canada as one of our first things last summer, but because the Canadian border closed, we had to change all those plans. We also changed going into Maine because they had some of the tightest restrictions early on.
Yeah. So we were going to have to go in and quarantine for 2 weeks, but it was like we just decided to scrap that and stay down into New Hampshire area. So, and hang out with Julianne and AJ. What's up, buddy?
So then we just traveled west. We made it out to Washington, where Carl has a lot of family out there. And then we headed south, and we spent a good part of the winter in the Arizona and Southern California areas.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and to AJ, hello from the Rummy Champion.
Yeah. So where we are right now, we are back up in Washington. We had hoped to maybe go to Alaska this summer, but that's not going to happen because of the Canadian border still being closed. But we are fully vaccinated, so whenever they do open the border, we might slip across just to check something out. Who knows? But where we're currently at is right outside of Seattle at Tall Chief RV Park and Campground in Falls City, Washington, and that's where we're at.
So major issues coming up through the New York and Pennsylvania area. The roads are quite rough, as anybody that's been up here knows. Especially when you're pulling an RV, you have to have your tires inflated a little bit harder than normal because of the weight. So we actually lost 2 hubcaps off the truck and 2 hubcaps off the back of the Airstream from just the roads, basically. Karen actually saw one of them going across 6 lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
That was, see ya, buddy.
That was back in June, at the beginning of June last year when we were heading up toward New Hampshire, and that was our first major issue. Our second major one was in New York when we were traveling across a bridge to go to Dick's Sporting Goods because I needed a bicycle helmet, and
construction area.
They had the traveling on the bridge was a little bit tighter because of construction, and our driver's side mirror smashed into someone else's driver's side mirror coming from the opposite direction and shattered the mirror. So once we
flipped it back, and we had to get a new mirror.
So Carl ordered a new one, and he switched it out when we got to my uncle's house in Ohio a few weeks later. Another thing that happened was the dent in the Airstream.
Well, that happened at Yosemite Lakes. There's a lot of tall pines, And we had gone out one day, and our neighbor that was beside us, he has an Airstream. When we came back, he said, "Man, a big branch fell on the top of your thing. It was about this big. We saw it." And I didn't see any damage, but we didn't go up on top. So I got the ladder, went up there, and we have some pictures. I'll put a couple of pictures in here to show the dent, how it swelled it down. So I had to go up there and recalk it because it actually created a little bit of a divot where water could get in. So we had to recalk it. And we're going to fix that when we get up to my mom's house in Washington. We have a puller so we can pull the dents out. It's very common on these Airstreams with the metal roofs that they'll get dented, especially on the end caps, because that's a thinner metal. But they're relatively easy to fix if they're not dented real bad. And then another thing that we had happen was in Yuma, Karen's bike got stolen.
Yeah.
Nice bike. We had bought this thing in Des Moines, Iowa.
No, it was not Des Moines, Iowa. It
Not
was
Des Moines.
Boise,
Idaho. All these places seem to get. And it was a nice bike, and we bought that when we were downtown, and also went down to see the Boise State campus with the blue football field.
Anyways, the bike was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And I even had a new basket on there that Madeline had gotten me for Christmas. Loved that bike, but we made the mistake
and we'll put a picture of that up with Karen in her helmet. She was looking so cute.
Okay. So we
goat heads.
We didn't lock our bikes up one day. We were in Yuma. You could see our Airstream from a mile away based on where they sat us, and because so many Canadians had not come down for the winter because of the border,
it was very...
our Airstream was very open, and when our truck wasn't there, you could see everything there. And we just happened to run a couple errands one day, and when we came back, my bike was gone. Carl's was still there because he had a flat tire, and that was that with that.
We had a flat tire because from
Carl likes
Utah,
to think he's
I'm an off-roader. I'm a mountain biker.
Yes.
So in Utah and stuff, there's these goat heads, they're called, and they have a really long thorn, about that long on them, and they get in the tire. Most everybody out there runs slime or thick tubes, but we didn't know that. So I had like 7 or 8 of them in my tire.
No, he had more like 27 or 28.
Whatever.
And he's done this on 2 different bikes. He's gotten flat tires on.
But now we got slime in them and we're good.
Yeah. So
next item is our
favorite
places. For me, it's where we are now, which this is a cool place. But I did like Yosemite. I did like Canyonlands, Yellowstone, Bryce. Oh, okay. So the 15 national parks that we went to,
yeah,
they're all very nice.
We tend to really like going to the national parks. They're a lot of fun. My favorite by far was probably Olympic National Park. It has a little bit of everything.
Very big. Actually,
part of that park is oceanfront, and that was awesome. They have a rainforest section. They have the Hurricane Ridge, which is glacier-capped mountains. They have glacier lakes that are stunning. That was really quite beautiful, and that's up in the northwest part of Washington. And then my other favorite one was Yosemite. Quite unexpectedly, I didn't know what to expect at that park, but it was quite beautiful with a lot of beautiful waterfalls, great cell service in there, and we rode our bikes in there. We would like to go back when it's a little bit warmer and have a little bit more time to actually do some hiking. Part of the park was still closed because of snow removal and everything, but the best time to go to Yosemite is in the late spring, early summer, when the waterfalls are really flowing, because over the course of the summer, because of dry conditions and what do they call it when drought conditions, the waterfalls dry up. So by the end of August, September, they're not flowing as hard. So we wanted to tell you some of our biggest surprises. The first one happened in Deadwood, South Dakota last August. Take it away.
So we're coming through Deadwood, and we had parked, and we're walking into town, and Karen gets a message on her phone from Maribel and Hector, our neighbors on the Southwood Avenue, saying, "Are you in Deadwood?" It was like, that was odd. And so we had walked into the ice cream store there, and seriously, just about the time that she got the text, here they come walking in the door. And she's like, "Yes, we're in Deadwood." "Why do you ask?" So that was pretty cool. We got to hang out with them and had dinner with them. Just good to see some friends.
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah.
Another one was another big surprise for me, anyways, is the number of single women that we see RVing. Some of them are, weekenders or, summer trips, snowbirders. Others are full-time RVers or van dwellers. The youngest one that we met at a boondocking site in Yuma, Arizona was Madeline's age, 26, 27 years old, and she is basically been living out of her van since she graduated from college. She designed it herself, the interior. She carries her 3 bikes with her. She's a bicyclist, and she works for a cloud company, so as long as she has internet, she can work anywhere. The oldest was probably in their 70s, and we met a lady in New York who, when we were in Lockport, New York, she did an Erie Canal tour with us, and she has been full-timing for over 10 years since she retired. So it's been quite remarkable to see that.
She's in her 80s.
And she's in her 80s now, so I guess that...
Pulling a fifth wheel with a truck by herself.
Yeah.
Cool.
The other big surprise happened outside of Sacramento when we were in Carmichael. We were basically staying the night in a Walmart parking lot, and
with Zach, our friend's son that lives there. We hadn't seen Zach in a while, so it was good to see him. But we had gone out to eat and come back, and we're sitting in the parking lot, and the door's open, and a guy drives up in an Escalade. So I walked out to see. He goes, "You want to sell that Airstream?" I'm like, "Oh, no, man, it's not for sale." Probably 10 minutes later, another nice vehicle came up and asked the same question.
yeah,
And we're like, okay, if a third one comes up, $120K and it's yours, pal.
cash.
Cash.
Of course, the third person
Never
doesn't come
showed
up,
up.
so we're still living in our Airstream. Game changers. We've had a few of those. Carl, why don't you take the first one?
Well, the Thousand Trails membership, which we're staying in a Thousand Trails campground now. So basically, you buy the membership, you pay the yearly renewal fees, and the campgrounds, by and large, don't cost you anything. There are some that have a little bit of a premium, but we haven't been in any of those. That has definitely made this something that we can do. Also, one of the things that we bought early on was a little 12-volt refrigerator. Basically, it's like a cooler, but it's a refrigerator. It has a compressor in it. That has been a real lifesaver because the refrigerators in these things are not that big. They're 8 cubic foot, and our little Alpi-Cool that the door lifts up on, we can put a lot of stuff in there. So like when we go to Costco and we got 3 things of orange juice, we have a storage place. So that's been great. Also, the solar, we don't use that quite as much. We do when we're boondocking, but typically when we're at these sites, we have electric. So that's been great to have, but it hasn't really, we haven't used it as much as we thought we would. Now the e-bikes, Karen's bike got stolen, so that kind of motivated us to look at the electric bikes.
And we had to find some that were in our budget because they can be very pricey. But we found some Carl found some on Amazon that were right around $800, $900. And so we replaced my bike with one. It's a pedal assist e-bike, and I am telling you what, we ended up replacing his with one as well. It just makes bike riding so much more enjoyable We can go longer distances. We
And
can
go
go
uphill.
uphill and downhill as long as your battery's charged. So that has really been a game changer.
And shout out to Liz and Paul at Liz Amazing on YouTube for helping us. We sent them some questions and they answered them. We had met them in a couple of parks. Really great. And he's a biker, so they knew the electric bike thing. So that was helpful.
That helped. Yeah.
Also, and I tell Karen, of my favorites, between her number one, the electric blanket number two, sometimes it's a battle on who's the best. But she wins most of the time.
But yeah, he loves that electric blanket. So and it hasn't come off the bed yet. It's been on probably since last September or October.
You'd
based
be
on where we've
surprised
been.
how chilly,
Yeah.
even in the desert, in the wintertime, it'll get up to the 70s during the day, but it gets cool at night. And so having that electric blanket on there is nice.
And even when we're boondocking, we use it because we have an inverter.
We have an inverter.
So he turns that inverter on, and I have to turn on the electric blanket for a little while to get that bed warmed up. But it's nice. It's nice to have. Well, we miss the most, obviously. We really miss our family and friends. I definitely keep in touch with some people on a regular basis, obviously Madeline and Rachel and my mom. I keep in touch with Sylvia, my friend, every week, and a few other friends via email. Obviously, a lot of you get postcards from us. It's our way of letting you know that we're thinking of you, and we hope you're thinking of us. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody when we come back to North Carolina later this year. For
and one of the biggest things I miss is the income, but also a dishwasher.
Oh,
OMG.
yes, we definitely miss a dishwasher. I will never, if we ever have a house again,
We will.
I will have a dishwasher. There will be a dishwasher. I don't care. I'm so tired of washing dishes every day. Don't like it. And I also miss a laundry room, although we do have a portable washing machine that Carl absolutely loves to operate. So whenever we use it, he's the one who does it. And I have to say, that was when we were in Las Vegas, the weather was perfect for that, because he would wash the clothes and then I'd hang them outside and they would literally be dry in less than an hour because of the sun and the
very low
dry
humidity,
air.
very dry.
Yeah, dry
very
air.
dry.
It was just really nice. But overall, I really miss having the convenience of a washer and dryer right with me, like everybody has in their house.
Now, end notes and future plans.
So are we selling our house? Yes, we will be selling our house in Garner. Will we be buying another one? Most likely, but it will probably be in Florida. It'll probably be something similar to what my mother lives in. It will probably be in a 55 plus community. We don't know. We're kind of keeping things fluid with that right now, but that's kind of the direction we've been leaning for a while. And it would be to become snowbirds. We would definitely continue traveling even if we owned something. But it would be nice to have a place where we have our stuff and where we can be for longer periods of time.
Not living in the Airstream, somewhere that's, I mean, not a ton bigger. This is about 200 square feet. A park model like Karen's Middle lives in is about 400 square feet. But it's in a community where a lot of them, they're gated communities. These people are used to people being there in the wintertime and being gone in the summertime. So the safety factor, that's the one thing that we looked at, was safety factor, when we're not there and traveling. And Florida makes sense because most of our family's on the East Coast. There's a lot of great places in Yuma. Southern California is just too expensive. But the Yuma, Arizona area is nice, but it's just a long ways away from the East Coast, man.
Yeah. What's coming up for us? Well, we're still traveling, obviously full-time, and we're going across the northern tier states over the summer, and then we'll be starting to head south, and we plan to be in North Carolina by the end of October. Carl is hoping to work with Joe, our handyman, someone that we met that helped us with a few things in our house, and he's hoping to help him for a couple of months. I'm hoping to see all my family and friends and spend the holidays there, and then we will be heading to Florida in January. We're hoping that the Canadian border will be open next summer. So after Rachel graduates with her master's degree next May, we will be heading to Alaska next summer, and then we're going to take it from there.
Pretty much, we're just going to play it by ear. We'll have graduation and the sale of the house, but that can be done remote now. Pretty much, we've done that before, and so leave Boone in May, and then head towards Montana to go up through the what they call the eastern access to go into Canada, to go up to Alaska, get on the Canadian highway. But if you go too early, you start getting a lot of cold weather and snow. So we're trying to pace it out so that we don't get a lot of issues to deal with. I'm sure we're going to run into something. We just want to be prepared for that. So
yes, we have seen more snow in the west than we ever had any given season in the east. Yeah. In North Carolina, we saw snow down in Southern California. We saw snow in Arizona. We have seen snow in Northern California. We saw it in Oregon. We've even seen it in Washington, and it's already the end of May. So we've seen it. We haven't had to really stay in it.
Yeah, last week going up to Mount Rainier, it was snowing at the top.
Yeah.
So
it's been quite interesting. And when it's damp and cold and rainy or snowy, we tend to not want to hike or bike things like that. So definitely we totally get the snowbird appeal. Definitely. So there you have it. That's a recap of our very first year as full-time travelers. We still love our Airstream. We haven't killed each other.
Yet. The day's young, though.
No. We have a very tasty cocktail that we use as icebreakers with a lot of wonderful people that we've met along the way, and we've even seen them again. So we're making some friends out here. It's really awesome. Thank you very much, and see you soon.